Hello.
Oh, hey there.
How's it going?
Did you miss me?
Anyway, hey, what is up, guys? It's me. It's your boy, Titus McGee. And sorry for the delay. Sorry for the long wait for the next episode. I kind of got busy. Kill me if you want to. I'm a college student. I had work to do. But in other news, I am back with another video. So, again, welcome to my YouTube channel. Glad you stopped by. Glad you stopped and picked the like button and did all that cool shit that I fucking love so much about you, because you're the best. You're the amazing. Love you. I adore you. Don't leave this video. Please stay for the long while. But in this video, I will be talking about some more shows that I've watched. I know in the last video, I said I was going to talk about Alien Earth, which I did watch. But I also watched some other shows that I kind of want to get into, and one was a movie, technically. So the other shows that I was watching, Peacock's show called The Paper. So that was another show we're going to talk about today because I did watch it and I'm kind of a fan of it. And the other movie that we're going to talk about, because it's a movie, not a show, is on Netflix. And it is called Unknown Number, The High School Catfish. It is a good documentary because I got to say, it's terrible. It's pretty despicable because it really shows you how much a person's willing to go just to kind of get what they want. But we'll go into that later on in this video. For right now, we're going to start off with Alien Earth. Now, Alien Earth is a new series on Hulu that just arrived on the scene. And I'm not going to lie, if you would have asked me personally, it's making quite the splash. Right now, when we checked, it's the #1 on Hulu right now on TV shows. It's the #1 rated shows. And if you ask me, I think it deserves it. Off of the first 2 episodes that I've watched, I think it deserves it by a lot. And the key word for deserve is for practical effects. Yes, I am so fucking happy to see people in suits again. And in this series, you get that. You get people wearing alien suits, acting like aliens, going on all fours, running around like dogs and shit. But overall, it's good. The series is good. The costume design is good. Within the first episode, we see the alien, the xenomorph that we've grown to love, back in action in all his glory. Because, Jesus, this show has one thing, and it's fucking gore. A lot of blood, a lot of guts, and a lot of bodies. I'm so happy for it. Just to see. The last series we're coming from is the Alien vs. Predator series, where aliens were kind of PG-13. So there wasn't a lot of blood. But thankfully, this new Hulu show has the blood, has the gore. The xenomorph itself, the suit, the design is amazing. It looks just like the 1970. Even though it's a TV show, it has that movie quality to the xenomorph. The main fucking star, like the main reason that most people clicked on this show to begin with, just to see that black, tall Terminator of a fucking alien go on his rampage. And we get to see a lot of that within the first couple episodes. We get a good glimpse of what this alien can do. But going more beyond just the alien itself and the practical effects, we have an all-star cast in this. We have Sydney Chandler. She is a wonderful actress, and she's playing the main character of Wendy. Now, Wendy's basically, if I had to sum it up, she's an android. She was a 12-year-old girl who was put in the body of a sentient android so she can be immortal. It's a big thing we're going to see a lot in this series, is the talk of immortality. If you could really live forever, would that be more beneficiary, or it will be more like a curse? And we follow along Wendy as she goes on her journey to basically grow from being 12 years old. Because, again, she still has the mindset of a 12-year-old, even though this android body that she has is an adult. And they played jokes on that in the first episode where they say, oh, yeah, she's not used to running around and having boobs because she was fucking 12. Which is kind of awkward. I already feel like there's going to be some weird things. Because, again, within the series, she's not the only android, or she's not the only kid turned android. There's going to be a couple other characters joining her in her journey where she becomes a kid, a sick child. But thanks Samuel Blanklin. We're going to fucking say that's his name. Samuel Blinklin plays the boy genius, aka the boy cavalier. He's the boy genius. He's the owner and basically the president of the city Prodigy, because on alien Earth is in a dystopian future where 5 corporations kind of said, you know what, we have all the money, we have all the trillions of billions of dollars, we're gonna own everything. And basically they did. They owned politics, business, everyday life. So everyday life on Earth is split up into 5 companies. And one of those companies is owned by the boy genius, boy cavalier. He has his own city called the Prodigy City, and that's where most of this is going to take place. Because, unbeknown to him, we have our favorite company, the Corporation of fucking Evil, coming back to shit on our face one more time. Because corporation rules, corporation's king. No matter what, no matter who dies, we have to save the product. And that's the moral of this story. Because, my oh my, do a lot of people die trying to save the products of who, you guessed it, the Weyland Corporation. The Weyland Corporation is back, ruining everybody's lives with their corporation greed. And just like that, they have already started to destroy a city. Because in the first episode, we are greeted with a cast and crew of people. You know, a lovely bunch of people who are just so eager, excited to go on this deep space vessel and bring back whatever the hell they need to bring back. They're having a good time. They're laughing. But we get introduced to the most important character, Casey. That's the, I'm saying the actor's name. That's the actor's name. But we're going to call him Morrow. Morrow is basically an android. And what he does is serve the Weyland Corporation. He's there to make sure the objective gets completed at all costs. And this son of a bitch, this motherfucker, really goes out of his way to make sure that the Weyland Corporation gets what they want. He's actually a demon. He's on some fucking demon timing. He has no problem killing any person, because like I said, he's a machine. He has no problem killing anybody to make sure that the Weyland Corporation gets what they want, which is basically the specimens. He plays basically the villain because he is part of Weyland Corporation's side. He goes in and he basically tries his best to apprehend and undermine any rescue because he doesn't want Weyland's secret to get out, and then everybody knows that these terrible life forms or aliens or whatever they're being brought to them by the Weyland Corporation. Who has to deal with this? All this trouble, all this death, all this trauma. Who gets a first-hand look at what a xenomorph is? Wendy's older brother is played by Alex Lothar, who plays the character of Hermit. Now, there's a long backstory to this, but we're going to get into it right now. So Hermit is the older brother to Wendy, and they grew up in a very, what it looks like from the first 2 episodes, a dysfunctional home where they didn't have everything, but they had the movie Ice Age. More importantly, Ice Age 4, which is probably the fucking best one, because they got monkeys and shit in there. You know, they got Peter Dinklage playing the Yeti, who was a great, character. I loved him. He was awesome. But again, Ice Age 4 comes in this series a lot of times because it's something that connects Hermit and Wendy together. It's that little sibling beacon. It's that, happy memories, nostalgia, remember those days type shit. It's going to be the same with these two. Now, Hermit is put in this situation because he, along with a couple other people, are part of the Boy Geniuses kind of crew. They're a part of Search and Rescue. Now, the space vessel that's carrying these specimens, aka the Xenomorph, and some other alien specimens that we get to know and be terrified of, because holy shit, all these motherfucking aliens are terrible. None of them are, like, friendly at all. None of them are, like, like horseshoe crabs. Horseshoe crabs look gross. They look disgusting, but they're not really dangerous to humans. They're pretty passive, and they're just kind of, chill creatures. And we still use them. We use horseshoe crab's blood, which is blue blood, for medicine. But not these motherfuckers. Nope. Whatever the fuck these are, other than the xenomorphs, they're terrible. They will kill you, and they will do it in the most gruesome ways. I had no idea that nature really rolled like this, but son of a bitch, She's out here pulling combos because, Jesus, they are getting murdered again and again by different creatures. The xenomorph, the alien, is not even the worst way to die. That's crazy to think about. But, again, Hermit is tasked to do a search and rescue operation on a building that this spaceship vessel crashed into. Because something, not going to go into details, something happened to the crew. And now this spaceship fell from the sky, crashed into a fucking building and hit the second tower. Fucking crashed into that shit. And now Hermit is tasked to go and basically secure the area. And as he's in there, as he's going on his adventure, he has close encounters with these aliens. So he knows that whatever Weyland is saying, whatever this ship's purpose was not telling the whole truth. There was some lies within that truth. But overall, the story is compelling because within the second episode, Wendy does find her long-lost brother Hermit, and they have a nice, happy reunion. But it is cut short with, again, the monsters on board of the vessel. But overall, this series I like a lot because it shows a lot more into the alien universe. It brings light that not only Weyland, the corporation, is in charge of the planet, but there are other 4 companies that do so. So it gives you a piece of information on how politics, how corporations are basically the strong headstone. It's just no matter what you do, you have to make sure you make corporate progress. You have to do what's beneficial for the company. And that's shown in Morrow. That's shown in Wendy as she's tasked to lead this android group to search and rescue whatever the hell happened in that building in Prodigy, because Wendy knows, she's very aware of her brother's existence and she's eager to meet him. She volunteers this group basically to go and accompany the search and rescue mission to find her brother, to get to see her brother. So she's a part of the corporation. She's doing the corporation's bidding. Everyone's doing the boy genius's bidding because he rules the country that they're in, if you can even call it a country. But Prodigy, the city that Prodigy's in. And the boy genius is not the good person that he thinks he is, or he chooses or makes himself to be. Because again, one of his reasons for searching and securing this crashed vessel is to kind of see whatever the fuck's inside and saying, dibs, that's my shit, get the fuck up on out of here, I ain't giving it back. That's basically what he's trying to do. Like I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but from the storytelling, the settings, the character, the cast, and most importantly, the CGI and the practical effects, Alien Earth is looking like a good series. So far, it has got the alien creature to a toe. It looks nice. It has a great overall story, and it's wanting me to look at more of this. I want to go back and finish the series because it's so compelling. And it shows so much about the alien world, the xenomorphs, that we don't know. And I'm more than eager to follow through. But moving on to a more lighthearted, more happy, more fun aesthetic, because we're going to Peacock to look at their brand new show called The Paper. An obvious 2.0 of The Office. It makes that in the opening. It makes that joke. But for those of you who are not familiar with The Office, let me go and explain it. Basically, in 2005, a TV show that was called The Office came up with the idea of basically filming a documentary of the corporate world. And this documentary basically showed the antics and all the funny monkey business happening behind the scenes because of this paper corporation called Dunder Mifflin. It was doing an experiment and just seeing how corporate life really affects those, or just the life of corporate life. The Paper is basically doing that exact same thing. It's doing a documentary of the newspaper of Scranton. It's basically just a new beginning. It's the same formula, just slightly tweaked and different. Now, if I were to give my first impressions on The Paper, it's pretty good. I mean, it's what you're going to get. There's been many shows that have done this formula before with success and with little success, like Parks and Recreation. We have Superstore. We have many shows that have done this. Oh, it's the corporate life, but we're going to do a documentary series to see all the little behind the scene faces and all this. by Jim Halpert. All those things we know and love, they are in the paper. Now, the paper has quite the cast to go along with it. Now, we have Domhnall Gleeson as Ned Sampson. So probably put him more as a Jim Halpert. He's the guy who knows how to do the work. He's a field reporter. He's the head of journalism. He's being called in to help fix this office and make sure the newspaper is actually worth reading. So Ned Sampson is the head. He's the new guy. He's the guy we're being introduced through this documentary series. He shows us the new guy perspective in this crazy office with a bunch of crazy characters. Like characters like Sabrina Impacatore, who plays Esmeralda Grant. She's basically a Michael Scott. She's the girl who runs the office, who poses for the camera, who makes sure she's looking beautiful and all that, but doesn't quite understand what's going on or what it means to run a newspaper business. But not only that, she has another Michael Scott, who I think was a good kind of addition to the characters because it shows basically what the original office was, the English version. That is Tim Key. Tim Key's Ken Davis is basically the British version of Michael Scott. He's basically Esmeralda's co-boss, or I want to say a boss, a level above her. But he is in charge of the office, and he's quite the funny character. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't heard of Tim Key or his acting abilities. I haven't seen him in any other things, or at least I don't think so. But he's a breath of fresh air. I like him. He's pretty funny because, again, I don't know, when British people say things, sometimes it appears more funnier than it is. But I feel like his delivery and the way he looks at the camera really, becomes Michael Scott. He really has that kind of awkward tone deaf that Michael Scott had. So I'm really happy to see that. Not only that, they're filled with a bunch of cast members who really bring in the whole team. We have Chelsea Frey, who's basically Mar Petit. She's the Pam, I have to say, the quote-unquote maybe, will they, won't they, love interest to Ned Sampson, the I guess I want to say the chief and editor of this newspaper business. She's the kind of Pam. She's like the down-to-earth. Yes, I understand everything's kind of fucking crazy, delusional around here, but I'm normal at least. She's that character. She plays off of Ned Sampson, and they're basically the whole process of figuring out how to make this paper company, this newspaper company, a respectable source of information. So she's along for the ride, and she's a great all-star cast member because, again, the way she looks at the camera is pretty funny. She knows how to make the good reads, I guess. But she's a welcome addition to the cast. We also have Melvin Gregg, who I love, and I personally picked the paper to watch because, motherfucker, that's my man Boy. That's the guy from Snowfall. And oh my god, if you guys have not seen Snowfall, which is another FX Hulu, tying back to Alien Earth, is another FX Hulu show. Snowfall is a wonderful show that talks about basically a black kid, a Mexican, and the CIA teaming up together to sell crack cocaine. Melvin Gregg, who is a Viner, you may recognize that guy from fucking Vines. I do too. I saw him through all this, so I'm kind of happy to see my boy succeeding. But Melvin comes out, and he plays the character Derek Moore, who's kind of like a simp in this kind of series. It's funny seeing Melvin Gregg go from this Crip gang member who's in charge, shooting motherfuckers, doing all these types of hood rat shit in his back alley, to coming to be a simp, an office simp who has eyes for a girl, and he goes out of his way to try to, impress her, even though she doesn't really like him and give him the time of day. But it's fun to see his acting abilities, just seeing the change up of how we went from being one character to this new character. It gives him range. And again, like I said, his awkwardness, his goofiness, it comes into play. His own Vine star comes into play because, again, a lot of his screen time is pretty good. I think it's funny. I find it funny. But the paper overall talks about just a struggling newspaper company trying to get serious recognition, trying to become something better than just packaging or something you throw or cover your meat with, something good. And honestly, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season because, like I said, it's an office. It's an office kind of reboot or remake. It even has Oscar Nunez. Oscar Nunez, who returns and comprises his role from the original Office series, Oscar. That's his character name. He plays a guy named Oscar. But Oscar comes back from the original show, The Office, to play in this series, to kind of tie it in and make you say, mira de veras. He makes it tie in and say, oh shit, I remember that guy from the last time. Now he's in this time, you know? But it's good to see him back. It's good to see Oscar Nunez comprise this role because it looks like he was having fun with it. It wasn't much of a kind of a recall to The Office, but it was nice to see him brought back so we can have some continuity to continue within the show. So, last but not least, I know you're tired. I know this video is kind of long, but mate, you fucking thugged it out. You thugged that shit out, and I'm proud of you. Because, hey, I'm glad you're here with me, baby. I wouldn't miss this shit for the fucking second. I wouldn't. No, I would not. But, coming back into our last show, we're going to take a more serious note because this is on a serious subject matter of cyberbullying. But we are talking about The Unknown Number, the high school catfish, and that's the new Netflix documentary that's out. This Netflix documentary goes into really graphic detail on how this poor little girl was basically cyberbullied by someone she didn't know, but was relentlessly cyberbullied over and over again for months on end with no knowledge of who could have done this. A lot of this first part of the documentary is what they did. Did they do it? Did he do it? Did she do it? Because a lot of characters get brought into frame. We have the young girl's boyfriend, her friends, even parents. Some parents get thrown into the mix as the FBI searches to find out who is this unknown number that keeps texting not only her, but her boyfriend and others in the friend group, calling them mean fucking things. I'm not gonna lie. I know this is a very serious topic and we're talking about cyberbullying, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with you, mate. When I saw those text messages that the unknown person was typing, I kind of started busting out laughing. Because, I mean, it was fucking mean. Those text messages were fucking mean. Those was really fucking letting them have it. But, again, we didn't know who this person was. We just knew that it was an unknown number catfishing, pretending to be someone, but just basically bullying these kids and making their lives miserable. But the big plot twist, the big surprise that myself, I couldn't comprehend was it turns out the person, the unknown number who was texting and sending all these vulgar and terrible text messages was the girl's mother. It was her own mother. They give her a segment in the fucking documentary. And I'm not gonna lie, it's the most twisted shit ever because she confesses. This poor girl had to go deal with all of this very traumatic stuff because, again, you didn't know this fucking person and it was happening for months. Cops couldn't do anything. FBI couldn't do anything. The dad couldn't do anything. It's a scary situation to be in. But the heartbreaking thing is it was the girl's mother. It was her own mother who fucking sent those messages and called her all these bogus shit. She literally made fun of this 14-year-old girl's anorexia, which is crazy to think because, again, it's a 14-year-old girl. She's just a fucking child. She was making fun of her baby girl for being too skinny, pointing at those insecurities. It's a tough watch. It's a tough watch, not because of what was said, but the aftermath of the documentary. Because this girl had to deal with this. And her mother openly confessed it to the dumbest fucking ways of her abilities, I gotta say. I remember this one point in the documentary where she looks in the camera and she's like, what I did is basically, everyone's judging me for breaking the law and then me getting caught, but people drink and drive. The only difference is when someone drinks and drive and they get caught, it's bad. And that's basically what I'm in. Admitting that what makes her bad isn't what she did, it's that she got caught doing what she did. So that makes her a bad guy. That's what people label her, a bad guy or a bad girl or a bad person, whatever the fuck you want to say. That's why people are pointing at her and calling her a bad girl or a bad guy, because she got caught. It's not that people are mad about what she did to these kids, these children, 14-year-olds. It's because she got caught. because everybody hates a motherfucker who slips up. That's the moral of the story. As I go on, this woman tippy-toes and tries to play the line of, oh yeah, I did something horrible, but, you know, everyone does something horrible, so that makes it okay. And that's a terrible fucking way to think, because this is a grown-ass woman. She's in her fucking 30s, 40s, whatever the fuck age she is, and she's doing that. That's a terrible thing to do. Horrible thing to do against your own daughter. That's your own blood. But again, the last 20 minutes of the documentary, she goes in. Half the time, she can't even answer the questions because she can't. The questions are so obvious that they point her to be the bad guy because that's what she fucking is. And she tries to play it off like, oh yeah, I did it. But I mean, you gotta have some sympathy. She goes into her past and talks about traumas, about what happened to her, and maybe that's a reason why she did this. But no, that's not a good excuse at all. Because just because I was bullied and I was picked on for being brown and having these fucking big ass forehead and lazy eye, that doesn't mean that justifies me getting mad and upset and kicking a 5-year-old to death. No, it doesn't. Just because I dealt with something traumatic doesn't excuse the fact that I just kicked this 5-year-old to death. No, it's a bad thing over fucking all. But again, it's a good documentary. I'm sorry for the spoilers. I'll try to type in something about the spoilers. Again, forgive me. But this movie made me so upset because of the fact that the mother did this and destroyed so many lives. She destroyed her husband's life. She lied about going to work and having a job. And her husband had to come to the realization that she was lying. That all the storages and all that stuff that she was supposedly paying, she did not pay for. So this man not only found out that the woman that was bullying his daughter was the fucking wife, but all of his stuff, all of the stuff he worked hard for is gone. It's out the door. It's never going to come back. This man had his life destroyed, and he didn't even know it was by the closest person. And that's the worst thing about it, is the betrayal of how close the victim was to the actual perpetrator. Because again, betrayal never comes from an enemy. An enemy never gets close to you, or close enough to ever betray you. The only person that can get close to you is someone you love or your friend. And that kind of just shows it even more, because the little girl forgave her mother. And I understand too, because she's a child. Obviously a child's not going to know or have a really good grasp about the perspective of the fucking magnitude of this situation. Because again, it was her mother bullying children. She was going after fucking children, defenseless kids who had no one really to go to. Because again, police and FBI couldn't crack the case for the longest time. I understand the girl for forgiving her mother, because again, she's a child. She doesn't have that many people. She's going to try to do everything in her power to fix her family. But I would understand if, as she grows up, she cuts relationships from her mother. I would too. Shit, that's some bad stuff. It really is bad. And let's not try to underplay it. But again, overall, it was a good documentary. It was a good movie, because it gives to light how bad social media can really be and how people can handle it. How bad overall not knowing who your enemy is, not knowing who can send this, who can send that, who can spread rumors can actually affect somebody. But it gives perspective overall on that side. But that cuts it for this episode. This was a long episode. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Overall, I'm going to continue watching Alien Earth. I'm going to give another update on that series and The Paper. I might come back. If not, I'm going to go watch something else and give a solid review over what the fuck I just watched. Because, you know, I know you want to watch. I know you're interested in hearing it. My guy, am I right? But overall, this episode was just talking about Aliens, Earth, The Paper, and the movie Unknown Number, A High School Catfish. I just wanted to go over those topics because within the week I watched them, so I want to give my personal opinions on them. Drop a comment down below if you've seen these. Drop a comment down below if you like Alien Earth, if you think it's too bloody, if you think it's kind of downplayed, if the acting's bad. Give me your insights. Tell me what you feel about it. But again, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you in the next episode. We won't know. I don't know what the next episode's going to be about. We're about to wing that bitch, and we're going to fucking think of something. But I'll post another episode within this week, hopefully. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.